My thumb hovers over the red send button. 9 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting in my Ford F-250 with the engine idling, headlights off, invisible in the shadows of the Miller estate. Through the windshield, I can see them on the balcony, Preston and Genevieve, my parents, champagne glasses catching the light, their laughter carrying across the manicured lawn I used to mow for free. The phone screen glows. Project Oak Root. Execute eviction. My other hand grips the steering wheel so tight my knuckles have gone white. The truck smells like potting soil and diesel. Mud caked on the floor mats. My boots leave prints on the pedals. I was going to save you, I whisper to the windshield. But then I heard what you said. 12 hours earlier, I was pruning a Japanese maple when Genevieve called. No hello. No how are you doing? Delilah. Just her voice, sharp as pruning shears. I need you to bring the juniper bonsai tonight. I'd paused mid-cut, phone wedged between my shoulder and ear. The greenhouse was humid, glass walls fogged with condensation. My hands were still dirt-stained from repotting succulents that morning. The gala's tonight? I'd said. Obviously. 40 years of the Miller Art Gallery. We're expecting investors. A pause. Then the tone shifted to something I knew too well. Condescending. Patient. Like explaining arithmetic to a slow child. You owe us this much, Delilah. After everything. After everything. The words settled in my chest like stones. I'd looked at the bonsai then. 5 years of careful cultivation. Competition winner. Valued at $8,000. The branches twisted just right, each needle placed by nature and my patience. It sat on the display table in perfect afternoon light. Roots anchored in soil. I'd mixed myself. It's not really appropriate for a centerpiece, I'd said. It needs specific conditions. Don't be difficult. Genevieve's voice hardened. We're cash poor right now, and we need to impress the Vanderbilts. Bring the tree. 6 o'clock. She'd hung up before I could respond. I should have said no. Should have laughed and gone back to work. But I didn't. Instead, I stood there in my greenhouse, surrounded by 200 plants I'd grown from seeds and cuttings, owner of a business that cleared 6 figures last year. And I felt 14 again. 14, when I'd given up the art scholarship so Merrick could attend private school, when Preston had patted my shoulder and said, "That's my girl, family first." I'd never gotten another scholarship. Merrick got his architecture degree. The pattern, I'm always the helper, never the helped. But maybe this time would be different. Maybe if I brought the bonsai, if I showed up and contributed something valuable, they'd finally see me. Really see me. Maybe this time they'll see me, I'd whispered to the empty greenhouse. Then I'd wrapped the bonsai in protective cloth and loaded it into the truck bed. By 6:15, I was pulling up to the Miller estate. Not the main entrance with its circular driveway and fountain. The service entrance. Around back, where the caterers parked. Merrick was waiting there, leaning against the brick wall in designer shoes that probably cost more than my monthly insurance payment. He watched me park, then walked over and kicked dirt off my front tire with the tip of his Italian leather. "Stay out of sight tonight," he said. "The adults are doing business." I'm 27, he's 30, but in his eyes, I'd seen it clearly. I wasn't an adult. I was the help. I'd bitten back my response and started unloading the bonsai. 40 pounds of tree and ceramic pot. I carried it alone while Merrick watched, hands in his pockets. While I positioned the truck, I'd glance toward the main entrance. The Vanderbilts were arriving early, stepping out of a black Mercedes. Old money recognizes desperate money. I'd seen it in the way they whispered to each other, the subtle eyebrow raise as Preston greeted them too loudly, laughing too hard. His tuxedo was nice, but I noticed the cuffs were slightly frayed. The family reputation was already cracking. Preston just couldn't see it. Genevieve appeared at the service door as I was carrying the bonsai up the steps. She didn't offer to help. Didn't even hold the door. "You're late," she said. "And couldn't you have worn something presentable?" I looked down at my work jeans, my flannel shirt. I'd come straight from a job site, hands still smelling like mulch. For a moment, I almost wavered. Almost considered driving home to change into something she'd approve of. Then I studied. I'm delivering a tree, Mother, not attending your party. Her face tightened, lips pressing into a thin line. But I didn't apologize. Didn't collapse into the old pattern of people-pleasing. Small victory. Preston appeared in the doorway behind her. He looked past me, eyes moving straight to the bonsai like I was invisible. "This will do," he said, inspecting the branches. "The Vanderbilts appreciate Eastern aesthetics." No thank you. No acknowledgement that I'd just given them an $8,000 centerpiece for free. Merrick followed us inside, smirking. At least she's useful for something. My hands trembled as I set the tree down on the main hall table. The realization cut clean and sharp. My family takes. They never give. They never give. Now, sitting in my truck in the darkness, I look at that phone screen again, my thumb still hovering. Through the windshield, Preston raises his glass. Genevieve laughs at something a guest said. They have no idea I'm out here. No idea what's coming. I press send. Another memory flashes back. 6:45. I'm positioning the bonsai on the main hall table, adjusting the angle so the twisted trunk faces the entrance. My fingers brush the lowest branch, checking moisture levels out of habit. The ceramic pot leaves a ring of condensation on the polished mahogany. That's when I hear them. Preston's voice carries from the private viewing room. The door is cracked open. A sharp whine of microphone feedback cuts the air, then settles. They're testing the sound system. Slide 14. Perfect. I freeze. Hand still touching the branch. The wood is smooth under my fingertips, bark worn soft from 5 years of careful training. Merrick's voice answers, amplified by the speakers. The visuals tell the story we need. Something in his tone makes my spine straighten. I should keep working. Should finish arranging the tree and leave through the service entrance like I'm supposed to. Instead, I move closer. The hallway mirror catches my reflection as I approach. Flannel shirt, jeans with mud stains on the knees, hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. I look exactly like what I am. Someone who works with her hands. The slideshow clicks. Once, twice. Through the crack in the door, I see the projection screen glowing bright in the dim room. Merrick stands there in a tailored suit, holding some crystal award. The photo caption reads, "The Visionary." Delilah Miller receives Architecture Excellence Award. Click. The next slide loads. It's me. I'm covered in pond muck, mud streaked across my face, kneeling beside a retention pond. Mid-laugh at something off camera. My work clothes are filthy. My hair is falling out of its tie. I look happy, completely unself-conscious. I remember when that photo was taken. Last spring. The Hendersons' backyard pond had clogged, and I'd spent 3 hours elbow-deep in algae and silt. Mrs. Henderson had laughed at something I'd said and snapped the picture. Said I looked like I was having the time of my life. Preston's voice breaks the silence. It's his presentation voice. Rehearsed, polished. The tone he uses when he's about to close a deal. We'll tell the investors, this is why we don't let children play in the dirt. A pause for effect. It proves we have standards. Merrick laughs. The sound echoes off the viewing room walls. Should we mention she charges people for this? He's really enjoying himself now. Actual money for manual labor. They're both laughing, practicing their timing, getting the rhythm right so the joke lands perfectly when the investors are watching. My breath catches. The bonsai branch slips from my fingers. Preston continues. The contrast is essential. Merrick's sophistication versus. Another calculated pause. Whatever Delilah is doing with her life. The words hang in the air. Clinical. Precise. This isn't angry mockery. It's strategy. She's our cautionary tale, Merrick says. Visual proof that the Miller family has standards, that we recognize quality. The Vanderbilts will appreciate it, Preston adds. They'll see we're not sentimental about failure. My hand finds the wall. The plaster is cool, solid. I need something steady because the floor feels like it's tilting. This isn't about proving anything to me. It's not even really about me. I'm a prop, a before and after comparison. The photograph that makes Merrick look better by contrast. The photo will be seen by every investor in that room, by the Vanderbilts, by Newport's entire elite circle. They'll all laugh at the mud-covered girl who thinks she's worth something. I catch my reflection in the mirror again. Same flannel shirt, same work jeans. But the woman looking back at me is different than the one who walked into this building an hour ago. Something crystallizes, sharp and clear and absolutely certain. I don't want their approval anymore. The realization doesn't come with anger. Not yet. Just cold, perfect understanding. I'm not their daughter tonight. I'm their visual aid. My hands are steady as I walk back to the main hall. The bonsai sits on the table exactly where I left it. $8,000 of patient cultivation. 5 years of careful work. I lift it. 40 pounds of ceramic and soil and living wood. The weight settles familiar in my arms. No one sees me walk through the service corridor. The caterers are busy in the kitchen. The florists are arranging centerpieces in the side rooms. I push through the service entrance with my shoulder. A caterer glances up from her van. She's young, maybe 20. Her eyes go to my face, then to the bonsai. Miss Miller, is everything all right? My voice comes out level, measured. The centerpiece won't work after all. She sees something in my expression, doesn't ask questions, just nods and goes back to unloading champagne flutes. Small moment, but it matters. Human decency versus family cruelty. The difference is stark. The truck bed is exactly where I left it. I settle the bonsai carefully, wrap the protective blanket around the pot. My hands know this routine. I've transported this tree dozens of times. The engine starts on the first try. Through the windshield, I can see the main hall windows. The display table sits empty now. Just a ring of water condensation where the tree stood. The dashboard clock reads 7:15. Guests arrive in 45 minutes. My phone buzzes. Genevieve's name lights up the screen. I silence it. The tears come as I'm pulling onto Ocean Avenue. My hands shake on the steering wheel. Adrenaline crashing through my system now that I'm alone. But underneath the tears, something else is forming. Something harder than grief, colder than anger. I didn't just take back a tree. I took back myself. By 7:45, I'm pulling into the gravel lot at Verdant Horizons. The commercial greenhouse glows amber in the dusk, interior lights reflecting off glass panels. My hands are still shaking on the steering wheel. The F-250's engine ticks as it cools. I sit there, staring at the building I built from nothing. 2 acres of glass and steel. 3 full-time employees. Last year's revenue, $847,000. None of it matters right now. Through the windshield, I see movement. Hank and Sarah are still here, working late on the Pemberton estate installation. Hank's loading river stones into the bed of the company truck. Sarah's coiling irrigation line. They spot my truck. Both stop mid-task. Hank walks over first, work gloves still on, concern already creasing his weathered face. He's 62, been with me since the beginning. Boss, what happened? I try to answer. My mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Sarah appears at the passenger window with a bottle of water. Doesn't ask permission. Just opens the door and hands it to me. She's younger than Hank, maybe 45, but has the same steady presence. The kind of person who knows when to speak and when to just be there. I take the water. My voice finally works. They were going to use me, in a slideshow, to mock me in front of investors. The words sound thin, inadequate. They don't capture the rehearsal. I overheard Preston's voice dripping with practiced humor, Merrick's laughter. Hank's jaw tightens. Sarah's hand finds my shoulder, warm through my flannel shirt. Come inside, Sarah says. I follow them into the greenhouse. The air smells like peat moss and green growth. Rows of seedlings in their trays, each one labeled in my handwriting. This is real. This is mine. Not the Miller Art Gallery, with its borrowed prestige and unpaid debts. We walk to the workbench area. I lean against the potting table, still holding the water bottle. I asked Silas to come, I say. If things went bad tonight. Good, Hank says. He pulls up a work stool, gestures for me to sit. I shake my head. Can't sit. Too much adrenaline. Then Hank does something unexpected. He kneels down in front of me and starts unlacing my boots. You don't have to. I start. He pulls a rag from his back pocket and wipes the heavy muck from the leather. He doesn't make them new, just knocks off the filth. Clean slate, boss. Or close enough. The words hit somewhere deep. Preston never cleaned anything. Never knelt for anyone. Never showed care through action. Sarah's hand stays on my shoulder. They're both just waiting. Not demanding explanations. Not rushing me. Just present. The greenhouse door opens. Silas Thorne walks in carrying his leather portfolio, still in his suit from whatever courtroom he left early. He's 53, my corporate attorney for 4 years now. Sharp mind, sharper instincts. Delilah. He sets the portfolio on the workbench. Talk to me. So I do. The whole thing spills out. Genevieve's demand for the bonsai, the slideshow rehearsal, Preston and Merrick laughing about using my photo as a cautionary tale. The empty centerpiece table I left behind. Silas listens without interrupting. When I finish, he opens the portfolio and spreads documents across the workbench. Oak Root Holdings, LLC, he says. Sarah leans closer, studying the papers. What's Project Oak Root? Silas glances at me. I nod. 6 months ago, he explains. Preston's bank threatened foreclosure on the Miller estate. The property was leveraged beyond capacity. Delilah bought the distressed debt through a shell company I set up. Hank whistles low. You own their debt? $125,000 in unpaid back rent, I say. My voice sounds hollow. I'm their landlord. They never knew. Sarah's hand tightens on my shoulder. Not judgment. Support. You were saving them, Silas says quietly. I thought if I proved myself successful enough. I stop. The sentence doesn't need finishing. They were never going to see you, Delilah. Silas's voice is gentle but firm. I've been telling you that for months. The truth lands like a physical weight. He's right. He's been right. I just wasn't ready to hear it. My phone buzzes. Genevieve. I let it ring once, twice. Then I answer and put it on speaker. Where's the tree? Her voice is shrill enough to make Sarah wince. Guests are asking questions. I took it home, Mother. Silence. Then the explosion. You selfish, ungrateful. The insults pour out. Trash. Embarrassment. Failure. Words she's probably thought for years. Finally unleashed. Hank and Sarah stand perfectly still, witnessing. You've ruined everything, Genevieve spits. Don't bother coming back. She hangs up. The greenhouse goes quiet, except for the ventilation system's hum. Silas opens his laptop. I can email the eviction notice right now. His cursor hovers over send. I stare at the screen. The legal document is already prepared, professionally formatted, legally airtight. 6 months of planning reduced to 1 mouse click. Then I shake my head. An email is too easy. Silas looks up. They want to humiliate me publicly? My voice hardens. I need to look them in the eye when I take it all back. Sarah speaks first. What do you need from us? Say the word, boss. Hank's already standing straighter. Silas is already thinking tactically. The gala ends at 11. What are you planning? Process server. I meet his eyes. Can you arrange one? He smiles. Actually smiles. I know exactly the right person. The shift in the room is palpable. We're not grieving anymore. We're strategizing. I stand up straight, wipe my face with the back of my hand. Look at the 3 of them. My lawyer. My foreman. My forewoman. This is my real family. Not the people who share my blood but never my burdens. They wanted me invisible, I say. They're about to see me very clearly. Sarah walks to the office closet and pulls out a simple black dress, still in dry cleaning plastic. You left this here last month. After the Chamber of Commerce dinner. I take it. Change right there in the greenhouse, not bothering with modesty. Sarah and Hank turn away out of habit, but Silas keeps working on his laptop, already briefing someone on the phone. The dress fits. Knee length. Professional. Unremarkable. Then I strap my boots back on underneath the hem. Silas ends his call. Process server will pose as a late arriving guest. Eviction notice is prepared. I'm thinking timing during the keynote presentation. Maximum impact, I say. This is some strategic thinking, boss. Hank grins. I learned from the best. I look at Silas. Just not from them. By 8:40, I'm climbing back into the F-250. The dress feels strange over my work clothes. The boots feel right. My phone screen glows. Project Oak Route. Execute eviction. Through the commercial district, I can just see the Miller estate on the hill. The balcony where Preston and Genevieve are probably standing right now. Champagne glasses raised, convinced they've won. Preston's arm is probably around her shoulders. They're laughing. They think I'm broken. I was going to save you, I whisper to the windshield. But then I heard what you said. My thumb hovers over send. I press it. The screen confirms. Process server dispatched. ETA, 9:45 p.m. I start the engine. The diesel rumbles to life, familiar and powerful. I'm not driving back as a victim. I'm driving back as a predator lying in wait. 9:20. I walk through the main entrance of the Miller Art Gallery for the first time in my life. The black dress Sarah pulled from the office closet fits well enough, skimming my knees, simple and severe. But underneath the hem, with each step across the marble floor, my heavy work boots thud softly. No more mud prints, Hank saw to that, but the battered leather looks violent against the polished floors. Ancient and scarred amidst a sea of patent leather and silk. Nobody notices yet. They're all too busy pretending not to stare at the centerpiece table. Someone has placed a generic crystal vase filled with store-bought white roses in the center. It looks small, pathetic even, against the grandeur of the hall. A desperate placeholder. The water ring from the massive bonsai pot is still faintly visible on the mahogany if you look past the cloth runner. The room is packed. Investors in dark suits cluster near the bar. The Vanderbilts occupy the corner table, their posture radiating the kind of judgment only old money can afford. Newport's elite scattered throughout, champagne glasses catching chandelier light. Genevieve spots me first. Her face does something I've never seen before. It contorts, twists through shock into pure rage, then smooths into a mask so quickly I almost doubt I saw it. She crosses the room in 4 seconds flat, heels clicking like gunshots. How dare you show your face? Her voice is low, venomous. Close enough that I can smell her perfume, expensive and cloying. I meet her eyes. I'm a Miller. This is a Miller event. Her hand clamps around my upper arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. You embarrassed us. That centerpiece cost us credibility. I don't pull away. Don't flinch. Did I? Or did you embarrass yourselves? Across the room, I catch the Vanderbilt matriarch watching us. Her expression is unreadable, but she's paying attention. They all are now. Genevieve's grip tightens. Then Preston sees me. He goes still, champagne glass halfway to his lips. His eyes find Merrick at the podium, and something passes between them. Some silent agreement that makes my spine straighten. Preston moves toward Merrick with quick, urgent steps. They lean close, whispering. Merrick glances at me, and his smile is all teeth. They aren't waiting for the keynote anymore. I can see it in the way Merrick signals the AV technician, the way Preston's jaw sets with determination. They're moving up the schedule. They want to punish me now. Want to crush whatever brought me back here before I can speak, before I can explain the missing centerpiece. They need me broken in front of these investors. Merrick approaches the microphone. The feedback squeals once, and the room settles into expectant silence. Before we begin our formal remarks, he says, voice smooth and practiced, I'd like to share something with you all. The lights dim. The massive screen behind the podium illuminates, white and waiting. My heartbeat stays steady. I've been expecting this since I heard them rehearsing earlier, since I understood exactly what they thought of me. Merrick's photograph appears first, him in a tailored suit, accepting some architecture award, looking every inch the visionary they want him to be. Polite applause ripples through the crowd. Then my photo replaces his. I'm covered in pond muck, kneeling in wet soil, laughing at something Hank said off camera. My hair is plastered to my forehead. My hands are black with earth. The joy on my face is unguarded, genuine, completely unaware I was being photographed. The room ripples with uncomfortable laughter, not cruel yet, but uncertain. Waiting for context, Merrick leans into the microphone. Some of us build legacies. He pauses for effect, gestures to his award photo. Others just dig holes. The laughter grows louder, more confident now that they understand the joke. Preston steps up beside Merrick, taking the microphone. This is what happens when you reject education. I stand in the center of the room. The spotlight finds me somehow. Probably Merrick's doing. Every face turns toward me, and I feel the weight of their judgment, like physical pressure. This is the moment they've been building toward. Complete exposure. Total humiliation. I bow my head slowly. Let my shoulders slump. Let my hands clasp in front of me, fingers twisting together like I'm trying to hold myself together. To Preston, to Genevieve watching from the side, to Merrick at the podium, I look exactly how they need me to look. Broken, defeated, remembering my place. Preston and Genevieve exchange glances across the room. Triumph gleams in their eyes, bright and hungry. Merrick smirks from the podium, leaning back like he's already won. At the bar, I catch them in my peripheral vision. Preston reaches for his champagne, and Genevieve meets him there. They clink glasses with the delicate sound of crystal on crystal. Preston leans close to her, whisper carrying just far enough for me to hear. She needed to remember her place. Genevieve sips, her lipstick leaving a mark on the rim. Maybe now she'll appreciate what real success looks like. They're drunk on it. The perceived power. The certainty that they've put me back in the box where I belong. Their guard is completely down. Near the Vanderbilt table, an older woman in pearls frowns at the screen. She leans toward her companion, stage whispering. Seems unnecessarily cruel. The Vanderbilt matriarch's face is stone. No smile, no approval. Just that careful neutrality that speaks volumes if you know how to read it. But Preston doesn't notice. He's too focused on me, on my bowed head and slumped shoulders. His arrogance blinds him to the way the room's mood is shifting, the subtle discomfort spreading through the crowd. I keep my head down. Keep playing the part. Then I check my watch. 9:43. I lift my gaze slowly, scanning the room until I find Silas near the entrance. He's dressed like any other guest, dark suit blending in perfectly. Our eyes meet across the crowded space. I give him the smallest nod, barely a movement at all. He nods back, steps aside from the doorway. The door opens behind him. A man in a dark suit enters, moving with purpose. He doesn't look around, doesn't hesitate, just walks forward like he knows exactly where he's going. I let my expression settle, let something cold and final move behind my eyes. Preston turns back to the podium, oblivious. He takes the microphone from Merrick, smiling at the crowd with complete confidence. Now, about our investment opportunity, he begins. The man in the dark suit keeps walking toward the stage. My scuffed boots stay planted on the marble floor, and I don't move. Preston stands at the podium like a king surveying his kingdom. The stage lights catch the silver threading in his tuxedo jacket, and he's smiling that practiced smile I've seen 1,000 times. The one that says he's already won. The Miller family, he begins, voice smooth as aged whiskey, represents 3 generations of refined taste. I'm still standing in the center of the room where the slideshow left me. Head bowed, shoulders slumped, playing defeated. But I'm watching the door. A man in a dark suit enters. He moves with purpose, not the casual drift of a late guest. The fabric of his jacket is quality but unremarkable. He could be anyone. Merrick notices him first. I see my brother's frown from across the room, the slight tilt of his head. He doesn't recognize the man. Neither does Preston, who's still talking about legacy and vision and all the empty words that built their hollow empire. The process server walks down the center aisle. His shoes are quiet on the polished floor. Dark suit blending with the other guests, but his trajectory is unmistakable. straight toward the stage. Preston stops mid-sentence, looks up, annoyed. He leans into the microphone. "Excuse me, this is a private event." The server doesn't stop, doesn't acknowledge the words at all, just keeps walking, steady as a metronome. Preston's irritation bleeds into his voice. "Sir, you need to leave." The room goes quiet, conversations dying like candle flames in wind, everyone turning to watch. The server reaches the stage steps, climbs them one at a time. Preston's face flushes red. His voice sharp now, amplified through those JBL speakers mounted in the corners. "Get the hell off my stage, you peasant." Gasps ripple through the crowd. I see the Vanderbilts exchange glances, eyebrows raised. There it is, the desperation, the crack in the veneer. But Preston doesn't notice. He's too focused on this perceived threat to his authority. "Do you know who I am? This is my gallery, my event." The microphone catches every word, broadcasts his rage to every corner of the room. The server stops 3 feet from Preston. When he speaks, his voice is calm, professional. But he's close enough to the podium that the microphone picks it up, amplifies it. "I know exactly who you are, Mr. Miller." He reaches into his jacket. Preston flinches, but what emerges is just a legal envelope. Cream-colored paper, official seal, visible even from where I'm standing. I am representing Overheard Holdings. Preston's face shifts from anger to confusion. "Overheard what?" "You are being served with an immediate eviction notice." The words hang in the air like smoke. I watch them register across the room, see the way heads turn, mouths open slightly. The server continues, and each word is a hammer blow. "For $125,000 in unpaid back rent." The number echoes. $125,000. 6 figures. The kind of debt that destroys reputations. Behind Preston, my mud photo is still projected on the screen. Delilah covered in pond muck, laughing. But the context has shifted. Flipped completely. Because the mud girl holds their 6-figure debt. Preston's face drains of color. All that righteous anger bleeding away into something else. Something that looks like fear. The Vanderbilts stand. Both of them, moving in sync. They place their napkins on the table with precise, deliberate movements. Then they walk toward the exit without a word. Not running. Old money doesn't run, but they're leaving. Avoiding contamination from this scandal. Other investors follow. I watch the social suicide happen in real time, exactly like Silas warned. The thing Preston feared most, manifesting right in front of him. "This is a misunderstanding," Preston stammers into the microphone. His voice has lost all its polish. "There's been some kind of mistake." The server's voice cuts through his protests. "Your lease is terminated effective immediately due to chronic non-payment. You have 48 hours to remove personal belongings." Genevieve's heels click on the floor. She's rushing toward the stage, dress swishing around her legs. "Who owns Overheard? I demand to know." But the server isn't finished. Legal ownership transferred to Overheard Holdings 6 months ago. All correspondence regarding the debt was sent to your attorney of record. Preston grabs for the papers. His hands are shaking so badly the envelope crumples. He stares at the documents like they're written in a foreign language. I start walking, not rushing, just steady steps toward the stage. The crowd parts for me without being asked. Their faces have changed. They're not looking at the mud girl anymore. They're seeing someone else entirely. I reach the base of the stage. Stop there. Look up. Preston's eyes meet mine. I watch the realization dawn across his face. See the exact moment he understands. His whisper barely carries, even with the microphone. "You?" I don't apologize. Don't explain or justify or make excuses. I just hold his gaze for 3 long seconds. Let him see everything he missed, everything he dismissed. Then I turn on my heel. The black dress swirls around my legs, and my battered work boots are visible for just a moment. The boots I wore on purpose, the boots I never apologized for. Silas falls in beside me as I walk toward the exit. His hand touches my back briefly. Steady, supportive. At the door, I pause. Turn back to face the room. The investors are frozen, watching. Preston is collapsed in a chair. Merrick stands beside him, looking lost. Genevieve's mouth is open, mid-scream. My voice carries across the silent room without needing a microphone. Clear. Calm. Final. The lease was always clear. I'm not your daughter right now. I let the silence stretch. Let them all hear what comes next. I'm your landlord. Then I walk out. Behind me, Genevieve's scream finally breaks free, the sound of someone watching their world crumble. The ruins of their ego scattered across that polished floor like broken glass. The door closes behind us. Silas and I step into the cool night air. I don't look back. 9 o'clock the next morning, and Genevieve's Mercedes pulls up to verdant horizons like she still owns the world. But she's wearing flats, not the Louboutins she'd had on last night. Flats. I notice from inside the greenhouse, hands deep in potting soil, repotting a Japanese maple that doesn't need my attention right now but gives me something to focus on besides the car door slamming. Hank intercepts her at the entrance. I hear his voice through the open windows, flat and professional. Boss isn't taking visitors. I need to speak with my daughter. Genevieve's voice cracks on the word daughter. Her makeup is smudged. She's wearing yesterday's dress, wrinkled across the bodice. I set down my pruning shears and wipe my hands on my jeans. Step into the doorway where she can see me. We need to talk, she says. Her eyes are red. We're family. I don't look up from the branch I'm examining. Family doesn't humiliate family publicly. The shears make a clean snip, precise. A small branch falls to the workbench. Your father is devastated. She takes a step closer. Hank shifts his weight, blocking her path subtly. Merrick won't speak to anyone. How can you do this to us? Snip. Another branch. I'm shaping the maple into something beautiful, something that will take years to fully mature. Patience and discipline. We raised you better than this. That one almost gets me. Almost. But I've heard this song before. The guilt, the manipulation, the assumption that I owe them something beyond the $125,000 they never paid. I set down the shears, wipe my hands clean on a rag, reach into my back pocket and pull out a business card, edges already worn from carrying it around since last night, knowing she'd come. I walk to the door and hand it to her. Bankruptcy attorney. Local, good reputation. The lease was clear, Genevieve. I don't call her mother. Payment terms were generous. 6 months of missed payments. We thought you'd understand. I'm not your daughter right now. The words taste clean in my mouth. True. I'm your landlord. She stares at me. Her hand trembles holding the card. And you're trespassing. She turns and leaves without another word. And I am left alone, thinking how I will never let anyone destroy what I have built. 3 months later, I'm standing on the balcony watching workers take down the Miller Art Gallery sign. The metal scrapes against brick, and I feel nothing. No satisfaction, no bitterness. Just the morning sun, warm on my shoulders, and the weight of my own building beneath my boots. Verdant horizons, headquarters. Sarah reads from the new sign as workers hoist it into place. Never thought we'd have offices with a view. Hank joins us, coffee in hand. He passes me a cup without asking if I want one. He knows I do. Boss, the $8,000 bonsai looks perfect in the window. I glance back through the glass. The juniper sits in the main office, backlit by eastern sun, every needle visible. 5 years of work, competition winner. Finally displayed where people can see it, where it deserves to be seen. It deserves to be seen, I say. Silas arrives with his leather portfolio,